Good evening and welcome to a special live stream as we unpack the Fed's decision earlier today to pause interest rates one more time. It's the longest Fed pause since 2008. It is what we kind of expected, but the markets were undecided and we're going to try and digest it all, cover what the impact on Bitcoin is, what the next couple of months is going to look like, and how that positions the Fed going into the September meeting. There's no meeting in August. Drop your questions in the chat. Good to see so many people on already. And Bitcoin just trading about $63,500, so not too much movement. We did get a bit of a run up earlier, but back down to 63.5. We'll cover everything tonight. Probably quite macro heavy tonight, which is what a lot of people keep asking me. I get DMs all the time asking me questions about rates, about money printing and things like that. So we'll try and cover it tonight. So as I say, we'll start with Bitcoin, $63,500. If we go to the shorter time frames, we can see earlier today we did get up as high as 64.7. So we've retreated a little bit. I don't know if that's just the first move. Sometimes what happens at these big meetings, these big decision points for the market, is the first move is almost like a head fake. It liquidates a lot of people that were maybe long on the market, and then it'll move up overnight and into tomorrow as the markets digest the moves. There is other central banks making decisions this week as well, so that could be impacting price, but on the daily we look pretty fine. Still in the uptrend, still putting in higher lows, and the next move hopefully takes out this $67,000 range and puts in a higher high, which would be very nice for price action. As you can see, altcoins kind of faring the worst as usual. Bitcoin down 0.5%, most altcoins down 2 to 4% across the board. Not too surprising, to be honest. But yeah, we'll cover that tonight as well, and we will also cover some big SwissBorg news. And let's see what else comes up as we go. So let's start. So the Fed today remained unchanged. So the rates didn't change. We got a pause. No rate cut, no rate hike as predicted. We did say this on Sunday. There was very little chance that there was going to be a hike or a cut. I think before the meeting, though, there was still about a 20% chance that they were going to hike, which probably shows in the fact that it was a pretty split decision. 3 dissenting, 3 Fed members wanting a rate hike. Fed leaves rates unchanged, longest pause since 2008. That's actually not a bad thing. Although rates are high, at least there's some consistency and there's some stability. This moving all around the place all the time is never good for anyone. The Fed says job gains have kept pace with workforce. They remain committed to getting inflation down to 2%, and they are happy with the economic activity. Warsh, in his speech, basically said that the economy wasn't slowing down despite inflation, despite the Iran war, despite some other factors impacting it. Inflation's still above the target, as we know, and no real guidance. So no clear idea of what's coming next. And I think that's just going to be the way of it. And I quite like this phrase here: market participants are learning to play the ball, not the referee. Because when Powell was in charge, all these meetings did was create confusion, so much volatility for markets, whereas Warsh is basically saying he's not going to be the one influenced by the markets and try not to have this swing one way, hawkish, dovish every single meeting, which I think is probably a good thing. If we fast forward, we could see that the chance of a hike in September is still at 53%. I think into August we'll see this come crashing down. I don't think we'll get a hike. I think 2 reasons. One, I don't think there's a need for a hike. I think inflation's going to continue to cool. I think when we get the inflation print in August, if it's cooler than expected, I think that'll be really bullish for markets. And I also think, Trump openly speaks about wanting interest rates low. He actually said he wanted interest rates to be the lowest in the Western world. He hired Warsh. He's not going to allow Warsh to hike into the midterms, and I do think that I don't think we'll get a cut. I think that would be too obvious that he's kind of a puppet, but I do think we'll get a pause in September. One to watch though. And then if we go further out, you can see 48 days, so we're not getting a meeting in August, which is great. Gives us a bit of calm. But yeah, so we're still 1% chance of a cut between now in October 2027. Watch this number rise in the next 60 days. I expect it to be much higher, maybe even 50% by the time we get to that next meeting in 48 days. So that's kind of a roundup on the Fed. Pretty much as expected, impacting prices 63.4 now for Bitcoin. The S&P 500 took a bit of a nosedive earlier. As you can see, it's struggling to find any support. Dow Jones similar, and the Nasdaq down as well. So all markets kind of responding negatively to it, which is quite a strange one for me. I don't really fully understand why they're reacting so negatively. All I can think is it's because they never heard anything bullish from Warsh on cuts, but I don't think that was to be expected. So yeah, I think that's quite a weird reaction, but we'll see. We do tend to see these events run for 24, 48 hours before we actually get some calmness. So Friday's probably when we're looking. We also have big tech earnings this week. I think Meta Meta's just reported. Yeah, just reported. Or no, they're going to report shortly, probably in the next half hour. I can't remember who else. Maybe Apple. yeah, Apple are reporting tomorrow. So big tech earnings. Then you've got the Japan decision tomorrow. And I think the UK decision might be tomorrow as well. All right, let's jump out the chat. Let's see what is happening. Let's see who's in. Shiv, Shanzi, Dex in, enjoying the music. Lee's in, and AC builds. Could Japan's move of recognizing crypto as a financial asset help push the US to do the same? To be honest, I think the US is the leader. I think I mean, it doesn't really move the needle too much. I don't think. I think when it comes to policy decisions, I think the world watches the US. I don't think the US watches anyone. To be honest, they kind of forge their own path. I know for kind of certainty that the Canadians, for example, are watching the US and won't make a policy decision until the US Clarity Act's enacted. So I would imagine the rest of the world's going to do the same. Shanzi, where's best place to keep up to date with all economics that's not crypto related? Well, I think podcasts, I think we could, definitely, like Don says, we could put a channel in CC Pro, but I think, to be honest, I think if you're looking for something like that, you should probably join CC Pro Alpha. So CC Pro Alpha is our kind of top tier of CC Pro, but what it does is every Monday we have a live stream where we talk through kind of more broader market dynamics, alternative assets. We look at stocks, we look at metals, we look at other investment opportunities. So we cover kind of more broader economic topics there. So I'd say Alpha is a really good place for you. But yeah, it really depends what you want. That's quite broad. Recess starts in 2 weeks, I think. And Jamie, what are we thinking on the Clarity? To be honest, I've kind of given up. It's kind of this back and forth with the Clarity Act. I've kind of given up trying to. It's a bit like the Iran war. One day it's on, the next day it's off. By the afternoon it's on again. It's really hard to keep track of. And I don't actually know how much the market is paying attention to it right now. I think it'll be very bullish for markets long term, of course, but I think right now it's just a big game. These politicians, they're only interested in how much money they can make off it, how much insider kind of collaboration there is. So I think until there's a decision, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think it will happen eventually. I think it'll be bullish for markets, but I think the rest of the year is going to be bullish whether we get clarity or not. I think clarity will just speed up the process and maybe draw out the next leg. I've said before, I think the next leg could run into 2028, which would be a bit of an extended period. I think that would probably hinge on regulation and banking regulations and stuff as well. Hilariously, the stumbling block is a big part is the yield. So banks don't want stablecoin providers to provide yield. Obviously, stablecoin providers do. So yeah, we'll see how it is, but it's a big game to me. We're going to cover SwissBorg actually. We'll just touch on it now since Lee brings it up. So Apple Pay, the SwissBorg card is now available on Apple Pay, not in the UK yet, Switzerland and France, but I think the UK will come pretty quick after. So I think it'll be live pretty soon. Apple Pay, obviously, it's got Android Pay right now, or Google Pay, whatever it's called, I don't even know. But Apple Pay will be activated for UK users very soon. A lot of chat in CC Pro today about what actually the benefits of the card are. The biggest one is you get Borg cashback every time you spend. So depending on your tier, depends how much cashback you actually get, but it's paid back in Borg. The more people using the card, the more buy pressure on the Borg token. So obviously bullish there. And I think the other thing is you can spend your crypto. So you can spend it without having to convert to fiat. You can just spend it easily when you're out. So it just kind of adds that utility to the entire SwissBorg ecosystem, which I think is a net benefit for everybody that holds Borg. Let me have a look at the Borg chart for you. We did cover it a few days ago. Actually, we covered it on Sunday night, I want to say. So very hard to look at 10 red monthly candles for Borg. No, I definitely don't think another 4 years. I think I don't believe in the 4-year bear and bull cycle. It's not that I don't believe in it. I think it's now broken. I don't think that works. Well, one, we've not it has not worked, because if that was the case, we should already have had a bull run in alts, and we never really got a full bull run in alts. Borg right now, yeah, does it look great? But I think for me, it's just representative of the crypto space. Let's have a look at these market caps. I'll try and explain it, but I did kind of cover it on Sunday. You've got total right now, so total market cap. You've got total 2, and then you have the others chart. Total 3 is the top 10, excluding. This is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH, and then the others chart is excluding the top 10. Only $160 billion amongst every crypto except the top 10 alts. This to me signifies the biggest problem in crypto is we've had zero breadth in the market. We've had Bitcoin kind of hanging there, Ethereum's doing okay, Solana now and again wants to have a bit of a pop. You've got Hyperliquid doing pretty well. That's pretty much it. It's, Zcash had its run. Hyper's getting absolutely trounced. What's it down? To be fair, 30%. This is the weekly. Let's have a look at the 3-day. I would expect it to come down maybe just shy of 50. I'd say that wasn't a bad buy zone, to be fair, for hype. But let's have a look at Zcash. It had a run a few months ago as well, still hanging in there. So you've got maybe 3 or 4 altcoins, or 3 or 4 crypto. Then you've got Bitcoin, and that's pretty much it. The entire market has been absolutely destroyed since the 10th of October. You look at, literally pick any coin. SWI down massively. You could pick Arbitrum. I read a thing today that I think Arbitrum's making something like $1,000 in fees per week, which is crazy. I think Solana makes like hundreds of millions. But yeah, literally pick a coin. Tell me any coin, and I would be surprised if it doesn't look like this. On top of that, any project that's TG'd since 2023, I think there's 8 that are above their TGE price. The rest are all down. So there's like a 97% chance if you TG'd in the last 3 years that you're down, and the average percentage is 80% down. So TGE in a utility token or a project coin right now is just a disaster, and AMD should just hang off because you're going to kill your project before it's even started. So no, I don't think another 4 years. I do think, like I've said, I think the Bitcoin bottom is in. I think this was the lowest weekly candle close we'll have of the year, and I think we'll head higher, and I do think that will eventually spread to altcoins. I think I was listening to a podcast, and it kind of confirmed what I've thought for a while, is I think AI and crypto goes hand in hand. AI and Bitcoin less so, and I actually think crypto is going to do very well by being associated with AI, but also AI agents. They're going to transact on blockchain, and I think they're going to bring massive amounts of, 1, volume, and 2, capital on chain in the next 18 months. And I think that's just going to be beneficial for crypto, because we know when there's liquidity in the market, even if it comes on to trade tokenized assets on Solana, for example, that capital stays around and then it goes into different sections of crypto. Once capital's in the market, it typically goes and finds other avenues, not just comes on to trade tokenized assets and stays in tokenized assets. It goes and finds other things. And I think that's what we're going to see, especially with the AI trade starting to cool off a little bit. I think this is going to be a really bullish period for crypto, and I actually think it's going to be a really bullish period for altcoins, because that's where I think a lot of the AI crypto narrative does well. I think also you're seeing Ethereum versus Bitcoin looking like a pretty healthy chart. We are in this kind of down trend since August, but it looks like we've broke the back of it. We're above the 200-day moving average, which is bullish. You can see we're building support on the 200-day moving average, and this typically means that, you know, altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin for a bit. Bitcoin dominance also starting to lose some steam as well. So no, 4 years, no chance. I think we're about to go through a very bullish, probably 12 months at least, if not 18 months, for the entire crypto market. And I think Clarity would just be that cherry on top that would help that as well. Let's look at Solana. And this is kind of one of the strange things as well, is if you look at certain cryptos across the space, Solana, for example, every week it seems to be doing new record volume numbers. I think SpaceX tokenized on Solana done, since it launched, over $1 billion in volume on Solana. Just insane. But the token price is just not having any impact yet. I do think that will shift later in the year. And I also think TradFi coming into crypto, the first thing they look at is user activity, user numbers, volume, fees, these types of KPIs that the average crypto user doesn't really care about. TradFi does, and I think that's why capital will flow. And I think Ethereum will be a big winner for that because it has a really strong revenue business when people are using the chain. I think Solana will do well, and I think some other coins will do really well. Ironically, I actually think XLM, so Stellar, I actually think Stellar will do really well. They are making a massive push into RWAs right now, and they are heavily backed by some large financial institutions. So yeah, I think Stellar is one to watch in the next 6 months also. Shanzi, yeah, I'm mega bullish on Doge, to be fair. I actually met, I randomly met a guy who is building Doge OS, which basically is bringing apps to the Doge chain to make it functional, and users can build stuff on it, a bit like Solana and Ethereum. And they're also looking at tokenized assets. They're looking at ways people can actually use Dogecoin. That's not why I'm bullish, by the way. That's just a side story. One of the reasons I'm bullish on Dogecoin is because everybody still wants an element of risk. So the average non-crypto user who gets onboarded by some tokenized SpaceX or Tesla or whatever, they'll start to dabble in more risky assets. And I think Doge is one of them that comes with a risk, comes with a meme, it's a bit of the culture, but realistically, it's a massive market cap. It's not going to go to zero, and Elon eventually will pump the coin to the absolute oblivion. So yeah, I'm mega bullish on Dogecoin. I think DCN in here, I don't think you could go wrong. This is the 3-day chart. On the daily chart, could be consolidating for a bottom, but it kind of looked like that in here, and then we had another leg lower. So it really depends on what Bitcoin does, but let's have a look at the weekly. You could be in the very early stages of forming a bottom on Doge, but you would need to see some more consolidation, I would say. Having said that, if we look at where it's hovering right now, you know, in and around here, it was kind of a bottom or a support level in 2022, 2023. So yeah, I mean, it could be. DCN's never a, you know, if you're DCNing any asset, you're not necessarily trying to time the bottom. You just want to start averaging in at a good price, and I think under 7 cents is an amazing price for Dogecoin. And you look at what happened back here, it went absolutely ballistic and got up as high as, what's this, 48. So yeah, decent returns, 7x at least, maybe an 8x just to get back to there. I think Dogecoin could go to $1 when we really see a proper altcoin move. And I think, like I say, somebody told me the other day about a token, which I'm not going to mention, but it's linked to somebody that I would call a bit of a scammer. The one thing you know about these people is they're greedy, and greed is, it's good if you know how to play the game with greed. And as long as you understand that, the people that hold Dogecoin, they love money, they love cash, they love making gains. Elon's no different. He is going to pump his bags at some point in the next run, and it's going to send Dogecoin flying. So yeah, I think I'm mega bullish on it, and I think it's a good price right now. Uniswap we covered in the last one, still looking pretty strong above the 200-day moving average consolidation. I think once this period breaks, I think we'll see it move quite fast higher. I think I said around that 486, but we do need to get through this 420, 419 area first, and then I think we could see a quick move for Uniswap in the next maybe 60 days. I wonder if there's any tokens we don't really... Another token we don't really speak about is Aave, just below the 200-day moving average. Probably the top lending protocol in DeFi. I think DeFi lending is going to be a massive topic in the next year or so. I think once people properly understand DeFi, it's a game changer for investors. AC builds. Solana, we kind of showed it on Sunday's stream. I think around that kind of 500 to 550 level, I think looks really good for Solana. I think it could go higher, but I think it really depends on the market conditions. It depends on regulation, institutions, and it also depends when the new policy for Solana gets changed. So they're trying to make it less inflationary and slightly higher fees, which will be bullish for two reasons. One, it'll be better for revenue for Solana, which, like I said earlier, Wall Street will care about as they come into the market. And two, it won't eliminate, because it's not going to be massive fees, but I think it will start to get rid of this kind of scam, pump and dump narrative that associates with Solana. So that can only be healthy long term. This chart's quite interesting if you pay attention to it. So this is Bitcoin and stablecoin dominance. It's currently sitting at 71%. To me, it looks like we could have put in a bit of a top if this is so let's have a look. Where's my shapes? So if it does put in something like that, like a bit of a rounded top, we could see a bit more accumulation and then start to fall lower, breach this low here and then continue to fall. I think that would be a pretty bullish signal for altcoins. I think we would need to take out the 69%. Once we're below that, I think we'll start to see a lot of momentum in the alt space. Alright, let's touch on SpaceX, because we've not really covered that. Hopefully no one bought SpaceX at the IPO. If anyone's new to crypto investing, investing in general, finance, whatever, the phrase buy fear, sell greed has never been more apparent than the SpaceX chart. We were posting about it in CC Pro as kind of a big warning. So you could buy SpaceX pre-IPO stock from around the $500 to $750 billion range, literally about 6 months ago. I think it IPO'd at something like $2.4 trillion or something like that. I could be wrong, but the point is in the week running up to the SpaceX IPO, pension firms, banks, investment companies were literally spamming retail users with emails saying allocate to SpaceX, biggest IPO in history. Hargreaves Lansdown, big pension fund and investment fund in the UK, literally was emailing me every single day. SpaceX is coming, You can allocate some of your pension to it. You should do this, you should do that. Literally every single day. That was the clearest sign to me that this IPO was going to be a disaster for retail. And it's proved itself. I think it got up as high as 3 trillion at launch. It's now down 50%. And all these suckers that bought in here because they listened to their investment advisors, they listened to the news, they listened to CNBC, they listened to their pension fund, are down 50%. And it's just an absolute disaster of a chart. I think for me, SpaceX is a great company. SpaceX will be a company that will do well in the next 5-10 years, but that doesn't make it a buy when you're up at 3 trillion. So yeah, hopefully everybody avoided it. I do think it could turn out to be a bit of a bottom around here. I think it will be a long-term, like $10 trillion company. But yeah, buy fear, sell greed. I've never seen so much hype, so much euphoria for an IPO, and anyone that bought close to the IPO was absolutely destroyed. And it's the exact same as what happened with Coinbase. And this was the chart we were using as an example. Coinbase IPO'd 2021, all the hype. Bitcoin had just made an all-time high. Coinbase IPO, of course it was going to go well, and everybody got wrecked. It literally took them 4 years to get back to break even. Absolutely insane. If you bought the IPO, you've still never made any profit on just the stock. Obviously, if there's dividends, that's different. But if you bought the IPO on Coinbase, you have been underwater on your investment for 5 years at this point. Absolutely brutal. Just insane. GM, CM. Thoughts on CRV? Yeah, I like Curve. I think Curve, again, I just think DeFi is kind of misunderstood. I think DeFi is going to go through a massive growth phase in the next 18 months. I don't mean to harp on about it, but AI is going to drive that. But for example, if you really believe in Solana right now, you could buy Solana, you can borrow against your Solana. So say you have 50k worth of Solana, but you need cash for a holiday. Well, you could just go and you could just borrow 5k against your Solana and pay it back at really low rates. There's always incentives, there's always rewards and farming and stuff you could do. But the point is that you don't have to sell your assets. And this is how the rich get richer. This is how billionaires have made their funds over the years, is they borrow against assets and buy more assets. You can do that right now in DeFi without speaking to a bank, without it touching your bank, without speaking to brokers or investment advisors. You can literally just go on and say, I've got these assets, who's going to lend me USDC against my assets? I still don't think people use DeFi properly. I still don't think it's properly understood. I think there's a lot of scams that have affected the kind of brand of DeFi. But I think DeFi is going to go through a massive rejuvenation. I think tokenized RWAs is a big part of that, because people can borrow against gold, silver, Tesla stock, any other RWA you could think of, and that's going to kind of revamp the image of DeFi. So yeah, Curve Finance I think will do really well. I think CRV will do really well once people start to actually use DeFi for what it was designed for. Lee bought some SpaceX. Look, I think the like I said, I believe in SpaceX long term. I think if I was buying SpaceX for the next 10 years, then I wouldn't really stress too much about it. But yeah, I think it just sums up the way finance is taught, spoken about in society. In the UK and the US, we just don't teach people properly, and then they get absolute wrecked allocating their pension to it. I also think it's hilarious that they tell us that crypto's a scam, and people can get wrecked on crypto and it's dangerous and all that. Meanwhile, they're shoving a $3 trillion IPO down everybody's throats. When will there be an alt season? There will be an alt season once Bitcoin gets back to all-time high and we start to see some breadth in the market. I think liquidity is a big part of it. I think we will start to see some liquidity later this year, but I don't think you can put a time on it. I think there's been too many kind of false dawns. So it looked like we were getting summer 2024, and then obviously Trump meme coin absolutely crashed the market, and then Bitcoin got back to all-time high in October, and then Binance crashed the market. So I don't think people understand the damage that Binance did in October. I think it's been completely removed from MD's memory that Binance destroyed the crypto market in October. Bitmart, BitMEX, Ascendex, that's 3 centralized exchanges have all gone bust or bankrupt or winding down or sunsetting, whatever the term is these days, in the last few weeks. One, because trading activity is all-time low, so they're not making any revenue. And 2, because people don't trust them. And the reason people don't trust them is because of what Binance did in October. This has been the slowest year for VCs investing in crypto since 2017 or 2018 or something like that. And a lot of people say that's because of AI and blah blah. It's not. It's because most VCs are absolutely underwater on their investments because of Binance. Because they were buying tokens, they were investing in projects, they were investing in founders. Most of them got wrecked. Most of the tokens are down 95%. Most of the projects have run out of funds because they can't raise, and they can't raise because their tokens in the toilet. And VC funds are absolutely crippled. So I think everybody needs to remember what happened in October. I think it might have been, 9 months ago, but I think everybody underestimates the damage it's done to not just projects and tokens and crypto prices, but actually the entire space. And absolute billions were lost that day, and I don't think people understand it properly. Money printing went. Well, they are printing money right now. They're buying their own treasuries, short-term treasuries right now, which is keeping things like the 3-month rate down where it is. The 6-month rate quite low as well. What they're not buying yet, which is kind of where you need them to buy, is the long end. So you need them to be buying 10 years and 30-year bonds, and they're not quite there yet. I think they'll get there eventually. I don't think the US can handle the 10-year up at 4.7%. It's brutal. 30-year at 5.2%, almost. In fact, it is the highest level since 2007. Eventually something's got to give, and we all know what that'll be. It'll be the government stepping in and buying its own bonds. And you can see that the balance sheet's starting to rise, but very slowly. Eventually we'll get some higher paced moves, and that'll be bullish for crypto. I also think liquidity is a bit like a wave, and right now that wave is very much out, and it's all in AI. I think there's going to be money flowing back from AI very soon. I think the AI trade isn't over. It's definitely not a bubble. Anyone tweeting today about AI being a bubble, just ignore them or block them or silence them. AI is not a bubble, but people just got ahead of themselves, so it's just going to pull itself back. I think it'll have 3 to 6 months slowdown, and then it'll have another resurgence, because AI is just going to be an absolute industrial revolution times 10. So yeah, I think once a lot of that capital rotates back into crypto for the first time, chasing gains, I think it'll be bullish for the entire space. So just jumped into CC Pro in the chat room. Run DMC saying, what's different about your positive outlook now compared to the past couple of years, and what exactly happened with the Binance scandal? They basically just absolutely wrecked the entire market. They pulled the order book for crypto. So they basically, there's buys and sells all the time on the order book, and they pulled all the buys, which meant that there was no bid for altcoins, so they literally just fell. So I think Algorand's a great example. Literally was trading at 23 cents and it dropped. I think it actually dropped lower. I'm sure on Binance it went to like 2 cents. So it didn't matter what, if you had any leverage, even if you had 1x, 2x leverage, you got liquidated. Everybody got liquidated. So any leverage position open across any crypto got liquidated. But what that also meant was anyone that had margin loans, anyone that was borrowing against collateral, they also got liquidated. So they all got destroyed. And the biggest users of DeFi lending and borrowing is institutions. So VCs will borrow against their tokens or their investments. They all got wrecked. Market makers got wrecked. Sexies got wrecked. Everybody got wrecked, and it was all because of Binance. So yeah, it was just a disaster. It was just and nothing happened. And I think this is when people say, you know, Wall Street are scared to allocate to crypto. Yep, probably because there's people like Binance out there who think they can do whatever they want. I think that will change, and I think TradFi coming at crypto is bullish for crypto. What's different about my positive outlook? I don't know if anything's different. I don't really know what you mean by that. I guess, yeah, I don't really know what you mean by what's changed. I think I've always been pretty positive, to be fair, and I've always had quite a bullish attitude on crypto. I think, I mean, obviously sometimes that means that, you know, you see bullish times ahead when obviously we went through a bearish period. I think right now, I think one of the reasons I'm bullish is because I think if you remove price, the actual things that are happening in crypto are super bullish. I think RWAs are massive for crypto. I think tokenized stocks, commodities, bonds, I think that's all really bullish. And one of the reasons is because it's really hard for like a TradFi investor to understand crypto. It's really hard for somebody that's not crypto native to understand why or how they earn yield in DeFi. But what they do understand is they understand stocks. So tokenized stocks is just a digital version of stocks. So they can understand that, so they can allocate capital to it. And I think RWAs are a bit of a Trojan horse for getting big pools of capital into crypto. On top of that, I think adoption is going to grow. I think AI agents are an absolute game changer for crypto. You look at the way AI agents work, everything's a micro process. So you ask it to go and do a search, it does 1,000 searches and gives you one answer. Well, it's going to be the same with payments, and it's going to be the same with any interaction you ask. So if you ask an AI agent to start buying Solana for you, it's not just going to go out and spend $1,000 on Solana. It's going to find the best place to buy Solana. It's going to find the best price. It's then going to maybe buy $10 from this exchange, $10 from this DEX, this $10 from here, and it's going to get you the best price, and it's going to spend your $1,000 the best way possible. All those micropayments can't happen in the traditional world, so AI is going to be a game changer for crypto. And then I think the other thing is just that we have suffered massively. We've had a really brutal couple of years, and I think hopefully it's kind of cleansing the space a little bit, but also I think when it turns green, it's going to be massive, and I think we're going to have a really successful period. I think the next 12 to 18 months are going to be utterly insane. And if you look at what's happened, and you know, people always say, why would, I always get this question like, how are crypto going to pump so much? Like, where's all this money coming from? Well, this is a stock. This is Micron, and Micron went from August. In August, Micron was trading at 105, and it went up to $1,200. So a 12x on a stock. Like, if a stock can do that, crypto can easily do that, because there's less liquidity to move the market. That takes a lot of money to move that market. So yeah, people always say, why would altcoins move like that? How are they going to move like that? Well, stocks have done it. AI trades just showed you that the capital is out there to pump assets when it's right and when the time's right. Let's have a look. Let's see what else just came in. Bailey Maguire, cool. Wasn't worth it, but he's tuning into a live stream on a Wednesday night. Seanzy, with the SwissBorg card, can you load GBP and spend that via the card and get Borg back? Yeah, I think any transaction with a card, you get cash back in Borg. The cashback percentage is the same percentage you get back as like if you do trading fees. So I think if you're the top tier on the app, you get 90% back in Borg. I think it's the same. Obviously not 90% of your spend, it's 90% of the whatever the cashback amount is. And Seanzy, I was bullish on Plutus, but they seem to be struggling. Yeah, I think Plutus got hammered with regulations. I think the MiCA regulations really killed them. I think FCA hurt them. I think regulation as a whole is so disjointed, it's really hard for projects to be regulated. I think banking is going to be really tough to break into, especially when you've got incumbents like, you've got Robinhood in the US and you've got like Revolut, things like that. I think it's going to be really hard for a banking app to break into the market. But I think the difference SwissBorg's got is it's more like a wealth app, so it's not really chasing that banking narrative. I also think they've got hooks into all the biggest dexes, so their aggregators like the best in the world. So I think they're fine. Somebody asked me to look at Tesla. 3-day daily. I mean, it's still coming down. So if you're DCA, then it's not bad. I would wait for this 200-week moving average though. 283. That looks a pretty good entry. It looks like it could get there as well because, well, I mean, it's not even got a wick for this week. It looks like it's going to drop more overnight. Earnings aren't till so it must have just posted earnings. Yeah, last week it posted earnings, surprise miss, then revenue was up. So yeah, I would watch out for the 200-week moving average. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's like back down here. I could. Yeah, I mean, if you're dollar cost average, it's not a bad price to start dollar cost averaging. Tesla will be back to all-time high. I have no doubt Tesla's going to be one of the most valuable companies in the world. I actually think they could eventually merge with SpaceX. But yeah, I'm bullish Tesla. I'm kind of bullish Elon, to be fair. Somebody should just make an Elon Musk investment wrapper that you just get exposure to all his companies. I would buy that. Like a thematic type of investment or an ETF. Probably as well, to be fair. Alright, that's pretty much us for tonight. The whole point was coming on to talk about the Fed. I think we covered it. No hike, no cut, pause. I expect the next move by the Fed will be a cut, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I don't know if it happens this year. I would think probably maybe March 2027 would be my guess right now. That could come forward, depending on inflation, depending on AI, depending on the bond market. But yeah, I would say we'll get a cut March at the latest. I don't think we'll get a hike now. I think that's probably off the table, and I think the markets will start to realise that in August as inflation starts to come in cooler. Bitcoin trading 63.5, right on top of the 200-week moving average. As long as we stay above that, I think everything looks good. Avoiding the black swan, I think the bottom's in. And that is us. Thanks for tuning in. I will be back next week with some more live streams. Till then, catch you all soon.